evening, everyone in speech class. I am Miguel Merlanda, and I'm here to read you my end about the negative influences social media can have on someone's mental well-being, mental health, as well as who they are as people. And well, I want to show you exactly what it is, exactly why that is. Now, first off, my introduction. So I'm sure everyone here has a good understanding of what social media is, as well as an idea of the importance and uses for it. It helps us connect with family, share our ideas and our feelings about whatever is happening in the world, give, as well as to give updates on our lives as a whole. However, there are some negative side effects regarding social media and how it impacts people's mental health. And so, with my presentation, I want to tell you the negative impact it has on people who use it on a daily basis, how it promotes this negative and toxic mentality of likes being the important thing for everyone's post, as well as how stepping away from all of it can end up being beneficial for one's mental well-being. So the way people spend their time social media platforms and refuse to take a break from it is concerning because a ton of problems to one's own mental well-being and how it could affect those using it so negatively because how constant people use it. According to the BBC, the discussion towards this, however, at a conference about social media and mental health at Royal Society of Medicine, he concluded that the reasons being such as an addiction are still unclear. It could also do it could also be to do with FOMO, the fear of missing out. Smartphone and addiction might as well be the part of it, as well as nomophobia, the fear of not having your phone with you at all times. Another problem that stems from the constant use of social media is in regards to the ordeal that people most often than not use it for their own self-satisfaction or worse yet, as a way to give themselves a bit of an adrenaline rush. To quote the convention on all this, but our findings didn't necessarily show a compulsion to use social media, something key in making an addiction. Other social factors such as fear of missing out and narcissistic personality traits may drive the need to use social media as an unhealthy degree. So what's even more alarming about all this is that for many people that they develop an addiction or make their social media presence their escape from their personal issues to make things a lot better for themselves. However, in doing this, it ends up making the situation a lot more stressful when they end up making a mistake that can be blown out of proportion and cause some negative repercussions to their personal lives from here on out. So, assuming whoever uses social media is able to be much more resistant against using it so often and putting their attention on something that would be less distressing for them, would be helpful for them in the long run. However, there are people who are unfortunately allow the worst traits of social media to affect them in a much more devastating way. Social media platforms have always Social media platforms have always prided themselves in the idea that the more likes, reposts, or retweets that you get on something you posted, i.e., personal thoughts and or opinions, or a photo you want to share with friends or family about your latest vacation trip to the Bahamas, it can end up being psychologically much more dangerous in the long run. To quote somewhere from the website Psycom, initially she saw social media as a way to express an involvement in people's lives since she found it difficult to make friends in a face-to-face situation. Over the course of several months, her social media use spiraled over to over 60 hours a week. At first, I felt this was really helping me feel less lonely, but after a while, the more I spent scrolling, the more miserable and rejected I felt. A part of me knew Facebook friends weren't really rejecting me when they posted photos of parties they hadn't invited me to because we'd never met or knew one another casually, but I felt worse and worse. The more concerning part about this affects people is that many people, they become incredibly resentful towards their peers or those they look up to, wishing that they had the lives of said people are having, are the type of lives that they wish to have. You may feel compelled to read through all their posts or flick through all their photo albums, even when you feel jealous, as it is as though you can't look away. On some level, you might even enjoy using their post as a stick with, with which with which to beat yourself. Within minutes, you can spiral downwards into a pit of self-loathing and despair. One of the many things that helps to conclude this topic of contention is how, unless kept in check, people who use the idea of likes and being the only thing to justify their lives will end up becoming very detrimental to their well-being as well as their mental health. So much of the time, many people will be driven to do very drastic things for that small dosage of attention, that they would willingly even start harassing others or say something incredibly controversial that can land them in hot water and can ruin their lives for good. So, that's in regards to how people allow the ordeal of social media's biggest hook to get them and their negative impacts it can have on on everyone's mental health. So that's it, right? With how bad it can be for some people, is this what we're left with? Well, surprisingly, there has been some good in regards to the fact that taking a break or leaving social media for good can have some benefits in the long run. Social media Social media is a strong and enticing thing to let go of, and for a lot of people, it can be incredibly difficult to let go of the habit of using it constantly, almost similar to an addiction. However, there have been some scientific benefits shown in the past that give us a better idea for many people. Abandoning it for your own well-being and helping you better in the long run. To quote the following from Helpline, but when it came to people he wasn't as close to, the reaction to his prolonged absence taught him a lot about how many of us now use social media as a substitute for actual interaction. He references a scene from the Black Mirror episode Nosedive, where the main character, played by Bruce Dallas Howard, takes an elevator with an ex-coworker. Despite trying to strike up a conversation, she uses technology implanted in her retina to scroll through her online activity to find something to talk about, ultimately landing on a pet cat. Another thing to mention is how leaving social media can have wonderful effects on your mental health, as well as improve your self-esteem, as well as in other ordeals such as sleeping better and your mood being much more positive. In some minutes, you can easily be intuned with images of people who seemingly have it better than you in one way or another. Just remember that social media is not real life, and every post is made by a person. Well, except for the bots. Actually, there's a lot of bot posting, and that person has ups and downs too. So when it comes to the positives of leaving social media, it can improve on yourself as a person as well as your mental well-being ends up surprisingly being better in the long on your end in the long run. You'll be able to be a lot less stressed or worried about how others perceive you as a person while giving yourself the chance to get the time you need off the internet and to be able to focus on the most important person who needs it the most, you. So in conclusion to all of this drama as a whole, I feel if people were to give themselves the time to heal mentally and not worry about what's going on while they're gone, to focus on being better, then I feel that being able to go out and smell the fresh roses can be beneficial to everyone in the long run. So that leads us to here. Social media can have some negative repercussions to those who use it, often to a point that it becomes dangerously obsessive to their peers around them, all in a vain attempt to receive self-satisfaction. The constant use of social media can have damaging effects on the people who use it, and could inadvertently make the situation for the person using it a lot worse on their front. The habits that some people develop of wanting as much likes and attentions from the posts they send, leading to jealousy and spiteful arrogance. This plus the negative effects this can have on someone's mental health. And finally, the fact of the matter in regards to the importance of separating yourself from a toxic environment in social media to focus on yourself as well as to improve your well-being and how you are as a person. So, in conclusion, social media's influences can be incredibly detrimental to a lot of people, especially to those who use it efficiently to an unhealthy degree. However, what I was able to hopefully discuss is that if you give yourself the time to to better yourself mentally, as well as to focus on your well-being and improve as a person, the break from all of it will end up being beneficial for you in the long run. And so, that's where I'm going to be concluding it. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.